Never Joe, never Joe, never Joe. Oh, money, never money, never money, money, never money, money. Now I know what you conniving money, money, never money, never money, money, never money, money. You can keep your conniving money when you've been knocked for a bum. In a bill, tell me money. Now because your money done, you come with conniving money. When you had your pocket full, in a bill, tell me money. Now because your money done, you hustle for tell me money. Yes, money, never money, never money, money, never money, money. Now know what you conniving money. Neighbor, neighbor, joker, neighbor, neighbor, joker, neighbor, neighbor, joker. That's all the money that me walk for. A 2 pound note and a guilda piece. A 2 pound note and a guilda piece. A 2 pound note and a guilda piece. This is all the money that me walk for. I said money, neighbor, money, neighbor, money, money, neighbor, money, money. Now I know what you can have in money. Oh, Joseph. morning. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. This all the money that me walk for. A 2 pound note and a guilder piece. A 2 pound note and a guilder piece. A 2 pound note and a guilder piece. This is all the money that me walk for. I said money, neighbor, money, neighbor, money, money, neighbor, money, money. I know what you can I be money. Oh, Joseph.
Morning, are you morning? Remember, Lou's Kitchen is open. Lou's Kitchen is open. You get grilled fish and rotisserie chicken on a daily basis, local juices and other beverages. Lou's Kitchen is open. Pay attention to this slide. You're going to eventually find out what's happening at Lou's Kitchen. Lou's Kitchen is open. Good morning, neighbor. Morning. Welcome to Buxtonian Guyanese morning time. You know, they say you don't teach old dogs new tricks. Right? You don't teach old dogs new tricks. Welcome to the Guyanese morning time with the Buxtonian, Kidaki, Amsterdam. This morning I don't intend to talk too much. I'll hear clear my throat steady. They say when old people clear the throat for you, they give you a hint. You ever notice? If you're there doing something and you tell yourself nobody's paying attention, and then them old people just say and tell you how to laugh. Rest in peace, Hector MacDonald Lee, Esquire. Anyway, y'all know the man? Hector MacDonald Lee. Brother Heck, we used to call him Hector Lee. Educator of no mean order. ESQ, Esquire. You know where you get the name, when you get the title Esquire, you're outstanding in human being. I'm Hector MacDonald Lee. Happens to be in my bloodline. Yes. Hector MacDonald Lee has taught across this country. All over this country, actually taught. His sister and what that would be his nieces, his niece in particular operate, what's the name of that business I always tell you about? Well, from Mania 592 and all J's catering service, yes. Julie, big up yourself. June and Jasmine and Junil and Joy and all J's catering service. Let me give them a shout out. They're located down by the Walkwood. That's south of the railway line. A couple of, well, about 6 buildings on your left hand side. You won't miss the sign if you're going in search of them. One from Mania 592. All J's catering. Make up yourself, Auntie June. I hope you're feeling better. She tell me she didn't feeling too good. She like me, like, you know. Like, listen, when Buxtonian old for sick, they're sick. It's not for them that's sick one time. Don't let anybody extreme. When they're old for dead, not for them that's dead too. Right? But let me say, as I talk about that, condolences to the relatives and friends of Naka Wills. I never know, at least I can't remember Naka Wills' correct name. I always know the man as Naka. From little to big, used to call him Naka as far as I remember, Naka Wills. I had the pleasure of working with his wife for a couple of years at the Guyana Book Foundation. I also have the pleasure of knowing his children and being friends with some of them. So condolences to the Willses. Naka is going to be buried today. And condolences to the August family extended to the Smalls. They too have a funeral today. Woman Constable Akiza August is going to be buried today. So y'all could know as a person in the community and all of that, today's a kind of busy day down in the afternoon. I have to go to both funerals. And then with Delta Foundation, we have a little, so we call it, let me call it gifting. We're going to be giving out a few hampers today. I think about 15 hampers. The persons have already been identified, so y'all don't send nobody to me, right? We have already identified 15 persons who are going to receive some food hampers today, late in the day. So really today, you ever hear people talk about splitting itself in many pieces? I really don't know how this thing is going to happen today. But these events were planned ahead of these funerals. And so you can't tell the people, postpone your funeral, nor can they tell us, postpone your hamper sharing and stuff like that. And certainly we have the after lunch Fridays here and thing. So it's a real clash of events for me today. But that's what you do. You share yourself, and I always say to people, I share myself with the public. So anybody who tell themselves they got 100% ownership, you think again. You share me with everybody else. Hey, well, lad, of all the persons, my daughter is reminded of that ever so often. Some days she was going to say, Daddy, I forget this home. Bring it for me, please. Girl, I ain't got time. I'm going to this meeting, you know. Girl, listen, why you just got to do these things to me, you know? Your father always busy. You're going to forget things and then call you and tell you about thing and thing. And so on. But yes, that's the reality. Today, I have a lot of sharing of myself to do. And so if you see me rushing out of here, as soon as it strikes 9, don't be surprised. Because you know, above all of these things which I mentioned, preparing lunch for my kids over at the primary school, that's what I do on Fridays. And Fridays really is dedicated to them, at least that morning session of Friday. So I'm already, the preparation of the meals has already started. Today they're getting rotisserie chicken. Compliments a loose kitchen, right? Right, they're getting rotisserie chicken. So if any of them listening, y'all at least could expect rotisserie chicken today. Last week they had some grilled chicken too. So yeah. Feed the children, man. We have to feed the children. And those of you who are willing to support the feeding program, I would be happy. I really need some sponsors now. Because the word I'm getting is that more and more children are really going, come on, don't get emotional. More and more children are now going to school with less to eat. I'm very serious because I try to keep track of that particular issue in the community. And so I'm understanding that across the school now there is a wider number of children who teachers recognize are having very little for lunch. How does a child study and drink a lemonade and $100 Polaroid? How nutritious is that? Right? A Coolong and a $40 cassava ball and so on. And so I think there's a greater need now. And so I would love to increase on the number of meals I prepare on Fridays. I was told that an ideal number would be about 50-60 meals. Right, which is almost 50% of the school's population, I was told. I think that would be about 25% of the school's population. Right, so if you can help me to get to that 50-60 meals on a Friday, I would very well welcome the assistance. Y'all know me, I normally don't come and beg for nothing. But when it comes to our children, I have no, what should I say, no barrier to asking for them, no. I ain't got pride. I could put my pride aside and say, well, listen, I need this assistance because it is going to assist our children. So I'm asking you this morning, those of you who can assist, let's take the number up to about 50-60 meals on a Friday. Or if we can do it twice a week, quite frankly. I'm willing to put in the labor. I'm willing to put in the labor to get it done. So hit me up. 6225933 is the number if you can, if you have an interest in helping in that endeavor. Big up to Delta Foundation. Selected Delta has been doing something, perhaps even before the two of us started collaborating and stuff. He's actually the DJ here on weekends. And so I learned from him that he was, you know, doing some charity with some, a couple of orphanages and so on. And so he's continuing that, and to some extent, we have now started collaborating on those things because, you know, if he has a thing coming up, as we like to see, and he reaches out, I would assist. If he wants the venue at Club Twilight, I will organize it for him and stuff like that. Good, so that's a bit of housekeeping, if I can call it that. And remember, of course, Kams Tv and BUXTONIAN Morning Time also need your support, so continue to support us so that we can continue to do what we're doing here. This is not just about politics and fighting for good governance and so on. Because while we're fighting for good governance and we're keeping people politically aware, right, it is important that we keep people alive. It is important that we keep our communities alive. It is important that we give people hope. Right? And so that is something that we have to continuously work on. As a matter of fact, I'm reminded that Sister Roslyn indicated to me that on Sunday they're going to have an outreach, I think, in Mocha with those people from KNView and so on. I think it's between the hours of 11 and 2. And so if you can go down there and join that group on Sunday, it would be nice of you to go down. If you have drums, they would like to ask you to walk with your drums or hire a drummer. Take along a drummer. And so we can really invite and call upon and, you know, celebrate with the ancestral spirits in that ancestral village. Right? That's Sunday between the hours of 11 and 2. 11 and 14 hours. That is what I remember Sister Roslyn telling me by way of message and a conversation yesterday. So keep that on your calendar also. Good. So it's 4 minutes to the 8 o'clock hour. You had the benefit of listening to Dr. Hines on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Right? Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I also did promise that I was going to ensure I played the voice notes in response to that program. Of those people who I didn't get to play on Wednesday. So now the task is mine to find it. Good. And so I'm going to those voice notes. I'm going to start the program like right now with these voice notes so that you have excuse me, a connection between Wednesday's program and this morning's. And because this morning I intend for us to have a whole lot of discussion on the content of Dr. Hines' presentation because I think it is so relevant. And I also issued an invite yesterday to Eglin Gomes to say, well, hit me up on Facebook and WhatsApp and tell me, come, let's talk about, you know, this whole this tiff between yourself and Aubrey Norton, or the leadership style of Aubrey Norton. Because sometimes when we interpret it that people don't like others, it is not that we don't like people or people don't like people. They simply don't like what they're seeing about them. And that means they don't like their style, they don't like their attitude, they don't like their approach to things. Not that people don't like that individual, right? So you might see Eglin Gomes talking a whole lot of things that we consider aggressive to Aubrey Norton or Aubrey Norton's style of leadership. But that doesn't mean that they're enemies or, you know, they don't get along. I don't know. I don't even know Eglin Gomes as much as I can say. I perhaps don't even know Aubrey Norton. I've met Aubrey Norton. We've been in the same space on a number of occasions and so on. We would write, I can call him, he would answer on phone and so on. Eglin Gomes, I'm not even sure I've ever met Eglin. Right? But we are all in the same fight. So here's your first voice note from Wednesday.
Good morning, Dr. Hines and Kadaki. Your show last night, it was a good show. I didn't get all of it anyway. About this thing with the land grabbing, you know. There comes a time when everybody, don't matter how you're stupid, you decide enough is enough. And I know one day that the Africans in Guyana will say enough is enough. With Aubrey Norton, I don't know, I have seen him like he's doing a different way. Everybody may want him to do one thing, but he may know what he's doing. And I still think that we should give him a little more time and see what would be his outcome. And when it comes to talking about the budget, I agree with what Lincoln Lewis said, I think it was last week on your show. Don't go into Parliament. Because all this big abusing out and cussing up and licking down and icing up, dressing up is one thing. They have already presented a budget with no increase to the public sector that's mainly African populated. Also, no increase to the NIS pensioners. And don't matter what you do, where you go, that is the budget. Once they said this is the budget, you might burst a blood vessel, but you wouldn't get anything else. So, and I know the black people, the Africans need to start in the villages, to start to educate the people on the land ownership. Like what Maka now doing. All African villages must start putting out the history of the village and how the lands were being acquired. and people gonna know voice them on. But when you don't put it out, when you get like what has happened in Moko and up Linden, you wouldn't be able to stand up. Look, the opposite of Lincoln Lewis. He knew what was his, so he was able to stand up, but hadn't Lincoln Lewis none of the historical origin of that land that he went down and got back from the gluttonous hands of Vinci, he would not have been able, but he had the history and the knowledge of the land. And the other African persons in Guyana must make up their mind to get the full history and keep it on the front burner. Bye-bye.
That was Ronda's voice note. Here's another from Wednesday.
Good morning, Mr. Kadaki, Mr. Hines, and all those who are listening. I am saying the same thing. You're not hearing anything, Mr. Greensham, condemning nothing. You're hearing his voice. He dumb, he deaf, he blind. Nothing you're hearing about from him or about him saying anything concerning all these situations going on. On the Van West Charles, they were fighting for the position to be the leader. And you mean none of them can say anything? None of them can say nothing? Van West Charles, like he gone in a cuckoo. You're hearing you're hearing nothing, he ain't saying nothing, you don't see me, you're hearing nothing. Huh? All of them dumb, and all of them are like dumb dogs, they cannot speak. Huh? I can't understand what's going on with these people. They want to lead, they want to be at the top there. And if they're not at the top there, they can't cooperate with whoever else is at the top there. They're not saying anything, they're not cooperating. This is so sad, this is so bad with our people. Plus they got a set of, I know, like snakes in the APN UFC. Ranjitan, you ain't seeing he condemning nothing, you ain't seeing he and there. He ain't going in this black community and saying nothing concerning these people, nothing. All of them dumb.
Here's another one.
Kadaki and Dr. Hines, good morning. Kadaki, let me tell you something. If you just take a good look at what is going on in this country, you will see exactly that there is no fight back to the PPP for nothing. Everything is being allowed and enabled. Because if we as a people should stand just for one cause to this installed government, we will see many things following that would fall into place.
Call all the line. You know, the deal wasn't that I was going to take calls now. I said I was going to play voice notes now from Wednesday. But hold the line. I'll take a call after.
But for some reason, I'm of my own opinion that the opposition went into some kind of secret bargaining along with these people like Sarah Lynch, because I realized that Aubrey got very quiet after speaking to her, never said what was the conversation. And he is not apparently allowing them to govern for 5 years. That, I think they made that bargain. So they will not be able to come out and protest or take the fight to them because they already made that kind of plea. And I am saying it, this is my opinion. And I am saying it, something has to be wrong. Why the opposition cannot lead or do anything for their supporters. And I'm seeing it, that this got to be the bottom line of the story. But he will be exposed because I have him on record as saying that when he wanted to go in to become the leader of the opposition, he would said on record, well, when I get in there, I will do just what my people wanted me to do. What if people want him to do? Walk around and talk and do the madness that he's doing? No. No one never wanted him to do that. We put him there to take the fight to PPP as an opposition, because that is what you're opposing. That's what you're opposing. Thank you.
Call it there.
Yes. Good morning. On and on. I wasn't paying attention to the program I added on, but I was doing other things. So I didn't realize that I couldn't call that. But anyhow.
So in short, you were disrespecting me. You were disrespecting us.
I apologize for that. To the other, let's pay the other page. Okay. The previous caller before, with Norton, with Granger and them not being visible right now. That's a good thing for Norton, because out of sight, out of mind. We don't want those kind of people showing up right now, Granger and Harmon and all these kind of people, and more distraction from what is really going on. So that's good for Mr. Norton. And the other part I want to talk about is that ExxonMobil, they've been submitting some numbers in regards to the operating expenses. I think over $1 billion, and we're not auditing those numbers and so on. But I think that the opposition, because I think they do have this authority to bring this case here now, to bring a case in front of the U.S. Congress, because ExxonMobil is a flagship American company globally, and I think the opposition could petition to bring a case in front of the U.S. Congress, and also have the FBI investigate what is really going on with these numbers that ExxonMobil is proposing, saying that they spent, right?
Yeah, but Carl, let me ask you this. Is it has ExxonMobil breached any terms or conditions of the contract by presenting these numbers, or is it that the government of Guyana has failed to do their due diligence in terms of these numbers? I'm asking because I don't know what the cases we're going to be bringing before the Congress. Is it that we find ExxonMobil culpable in wrongdoing, or is it that the people of Guyana, the government of Guyana, has shown itself inadequate to hold its end of the bargain?
Well, my argument is that it would be both, right? Because the thing is that there's a conspiracy here, and that could be proven because there's more than one entity here. One is the ExxonMobil, the other is the government of Guyana, and the operatives in the government of Guyana. So the point I was trying to make as well is that in the U.S., the law in the U.S. says that you can't lie to the FBI nor lie to the U.S. Congress, because there's a big penalty there. So I think that we should call the U.S. government's bluff here now, if they're bluffing us, right? And I think the opposition, they have a right to do so. To bring this in front of the U.S. Congress, have the FBI investigated the numbers, and if ExxonMobil is lying, then them and the government of Guyana will be made culpable, right? And we will get the right figures and everything. And we would know if the government really have Guyana at its mind, the interests of Guyana on its mind or not.
I would love to know.
That's what we need to do.
I would love to know that Guyana is getting accurate accounting numbers, if I can call it that, right? But I don't know that you can just go to the U.S. Congress and say, listen, we want you to investigate this company because they claim that they have spent $100 billion in developing this oil field, and not provide to the U.S. Congress evidence to suggest that the numbers have been, inflated, right? In order for you to prove that ExxonMobil has been disingenuous in their declarations, the government of Guyana has would have had to done their due diligence, and part of their due diligence is the audit of these figures. And so I'm thinking that asking the opposition to go before the US Congress and make this demand might be just, in my mind, out of the world, as against asking the opposition or Guyanese people to demand that their government have the audits executed. Right?
Well, you done?
Yeah, I'm finished.
I think it won't be good enough for us. I don't think it wouldn't be a good thing for us to ask the Guyana government to do so, because you're asking them to investigate themselves, asking cat to watch milk or whatever you want to say, right? But I do think that the opposition, they could do the due diligence as well, because they're shadowing the government, right? They're shadow ministers and all these kind of things. I mean, the funding is another story, but there's a lot of people who are supporting the opposition. So they could do a GoFundMe or whatever to get the experts to investigate these numbers here, right? And also, I do think that they have the authority to approach the U.S. government, because they're the opposition. They're the opposition in this country, and I think that Guyana, right, is a major party to the U.S. government, geopolitically and economically. So I do think that the U.S. government would respect the opposition in Guyana if they be aggressive enough, right? And if they bring the right things to the format, right? They have people like Borak and these kind of people in the U.S. who could actually guide them in that regard, like get them to know to tell them who the people that they need to contact, right? And I think that they should know who the people that should be contacted. But I do think that they have the right to do so, because Guyana, like I said, Guyana is a very important country to the U.S. right now, right? And if they think they're shadowing the government, and if they think the numbers are wrong, then they should have an audit and have those numbers audited. And I think it was already proven, because the previous Minister, Mr. Patterson, he said that the numbers are not correct, and he was in that field. So I do think that they've already done some of the due diligence that they're supposed to be doing. And so I think they should approach the U.S. government through the ambassador, whoever, or through the Congress people over here, and have that done. I think that they need to bring this, because normal companies bring these companies in front of the Congress and the U.S. I mean, you could argue and say that it's over here, right? But like I said again, Guyana is a very important partner, right? And the U.S. has been looking out for monarchies around the world, right, and dictatorships, right? So why wouldn't they look out for a partner that is right in their backyard, a strategic partner that's right in their backyard? And they're looking over Saudi Arabia, a dictatorship, monarchy, whatever you want to call it, and some of these other countries. So I do think that they should approach that. That's what I wanted to say. I think they should approach the U.S. administration to have ExxonMobil investigated, have them in front of Congress, answering some questions, and have the FBI talking to them, because I know they will be trembling in their boots when they go in front of when they're answering questions to the FBI, and they have to go in front of Congress and answer these same questions, because they know if they lie, they know what could happen to them. So that's what we need to do. That's exactly what we need to do. Thank you.
I would be the first to, I would be very happy to have the numbers investigated. I'd be very happy to have EXXON investigated. But like I said, I think it's the people of Guyana, first and foremost, who must hold their government accountable. And if holding your government accountable means approaching the U.S. Congress to look into these matters, by all means, right? By all means. But like I said, I don't know on what grounds we are approaching the U.S. Congress. Maybe Coffee is going to tell us now. Call it live. Good morning.
Well, good morning, Mr. Kadaki. Good morning, all Guyanese, and good morning, everyone in the diaspora. Among your many talents, you should get the job of mind reader. Good question by the brother there, and I'm glad you picked him up on the question. And so look, it'll be a hard road to travel to go to the United States Congress to ask them this matter like this. The opposition can't do it. But is it a big enough an issue for the United States Congress to pick it up? But the opposition can do it, yes. The proper channels would not be the United States Congress. The proper channels would be the State Department and USAID. What we need to realize is that USAID is a direct agency, a direct arm of the President of the United States. USAID was brought into existence by the Foreign Affairs Act of 1961 under President JFK. So when you see USAID driving around in Guyana, they are a direct arm to the president. But when you look at them, they look so regular, they don't seem like it. But USAID is a direct arm to the president's office. So you got two arms to the president. You got the embassy to the State Department. The embassy has a report to the State Department. The State Department reports to the president. Or you go direct to the president by way of USAID. Good. Now, to answer the brother's question, it'll be better if we brought a case against ExxonMobil. Brought a case against ExxonMobil for certain things such as fracking. Vincent Adams talked about a variety of things. We'll look at Vincent Adams' documentary. I think Vincent Adams is working in some capacity in Guyana. Anyway, Vincent Adams spoke at length with Dr. Hines on a show about some of the things, environmental things that Exxon is doing. So if we are interested, for those who are interested, can make an argument by getting Exxon into court. So that's the first thing. Get them into a court. Get into a fight. Tangle. And when you're tangling, then you can begin to touch and feel and do what you want to do. But you got to get into court. And fracking or things of that nature, Exxon is very complicit in doing. Right? Then we can get into local content and all other types of things that they should be doing. Now, another issue, being that this issue was raised, and I want to touch on something else. You see, United States is giving monies to certain countries under Foreign Affairs Act of 1961. And in order to give that money, the United States Embassy ambassador would have to make a report on human rights every year. And she reports to her boss, the Secretary of State, on the human rights activities in each country that receives these monies, foreign aid. Now, this report, human rights report, goes to the Secretary of State, and he or she sends a copy to the United States Congress. The United States Congress has two branches of foreign affairs. You got Mr. Meeks in the House of Representatives. He is there. Then in the Senate, you got a foreign affairs department there that deals with foreign affairs. You got two of them. Now, in order for America to give money to Guyana every year, Guyana has to score a certain score. If she falls below that score, she can begin to receive sanctions or not receive the monies. So what's my point? My point is, the United States, there's a law that says United States cannot give taxpayers money to rogue dictatorship, apartheid, terroristic governments. Guyana is qualifying as a rogue dictatorship, narco-terrorist state. So the point, to answer brother's question, United States is giving taxpayers money to dictatorship, and that is in violation of the Foreign Affairs Act. United States cannot take taxpayers' money to support a dictatorship, providing you precedent in court, but you got to take it to court. See, we could talk all day outside of the court. We got to take it to court. Now, Americans can do that. So those living in America can't do that. File that case. Okay? To show that the Congress is in violation of its own act. Okay, let's move on. Guyanese have a responsibility, which is to take our issue. If we say in Guyana that we see Exxon is doing something, then it's Guyanese job to do, not Americans' job to do for you in Guyana. You are on the soil, so you have to file it from within Guyana. to say these things are happening. Now the PPP will not try its own case. They won't do that. But as private citizens, we can do that, and we should be doing that. And that's why about 11 months ago, I said, let's start the Legal Defense Fund, because we need these things. Now, I want to touch on the topic before I close out. What I really wanted to talk on was nullification, interposition, and nullification. There is a doctrine called nullification. Nullification means to nullify, to lay void, to repeal something that should be in action, to say that something is not valid. Now, federally, the PPP have been nullifying the Constitution. Interposition and nullifying, they're getting in the way. Interposition means to get in between, to interfere, and they have been nullifying. Federally went to Mecca and said, we're going to jump over local government. That is nullification of a constitutional process. The operative word here is nullification. An installed president or an acting president cannot openly nullify the Constitution and then say it in public. So when we talk about, this morning I've been texting about accountability. This is not about Common Norton. This is not about individual. This is about the seat being accountable. Look, you go to court, so you buy a washing machine. 3 weeks later, the washing machine not working. What do courts tell you? You got a what? Got a warranty. And a warranty is to protect the customer's interest. I paid my money, give me what I paid for. We voted for you, give us what we vote for. For those of us who live in the United States, we remember how the United States broke away from Britain, from the Great Britain. Taxation without proper representation. You can't take my money and don't give me what I paid for. You can't accept my vote, then not represent me sufficiently. Not Coffee saying that. Read the polls on Facebook. The people are saying they want adequate representation. This is not Coffee saying that. And again, this is not about Granger. This is about the seat that we voted for. If you go to the store and you buy something, 10 gallons of gasoline, and the man only give you 2 gallons, what you going to do? You're going to demand what you paid for. It's the same thing with Aubrey Norton, Cameron Norton. It's the same thing with Granger. It's the same thing with the PPP. They have to account for that money that they're taking, that they're stealing in the budget. Everybody has to be accountable. And the quicker we understand that, because I see a lot of people getting caught up on this emotion thing, and then, pardon me?
Go ahead, go right ahead, sorry.
Yes. The longer we get caught up on this emotional thing about, oh, y'all stop putting so much pressure on Cameron Norton. This is not about Cameron Norton. And Cameron Norton knows that. Cameron Norton, the first one to say this is about accountability. And look, we are not marching to beat nobody in Florida. Nobody in Florida who wants to get Norton out. We don't know the reasons why they want to get Norton out from Florida.
Hold your call, or you can call again. You're holding, or you will call again? Okay. Continue, Coffee, go ahead.
I'm here.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah, I'm hearing. Yeah. So, look, if Florida wants Cameron Norton out, then they need to spell out why they want Cameron Norton out. But we're not going to just go for no bluff, no order 60. You want to get Cameron Norton out? Look at Rosedale Ford and this other one. That sounds like a setup. It smells like a setup. Nobody want to hear that. You come on the phone and giving out these messages and setting up somebody from the the treasurer. It sounds like a setup. No. We're not into that cheap trick thing. If you want to get come but not, then you better got justified reason. You see what I'm saying? Don't come and try to influence us to get come or not now, simply because you got some ulterior axe to grind in Florida. If you got just reasons, then tell us what your just reasons are. Now I'm saying those of with us, we got just reasons because we voted for an opposition that would hold the PPP accountable against illegitimacy. And the opposition has not done that thus far. Comrade Norton was all for protests, and now he's not for protest. Specifics. So for us, because the longer we cloud this thing, as though we beaten up on Norton, we support Norton, but we support Norton if he does better than he's doing. But we cannot support his current attitude. His attitude, it appears on the surface that he's more inclined to satisfy foreign interests, while we, the ones who vote, are left victimized. Comrade Norton was for mobilizing in the street from Mayor Ryan. I'm saying, wow, how is it Mayor Ryan getting mobilization and we can't get the mobilization for the biggest fight to remove the PPP? That sounds very funny. Comrade Norton says, there's a man in front of Brick Dam. Look, we're going to mobilize. Okay, I was enthused. But how we mobilizing for Mayor Ryan, which we should. But if you're going to mobilize for Mayor Ryan, then it behooves us to mobilize for what? The big fight. And I'm saying, like, we've got our priorities misplaced. So with regards to representation there, that's lacking. Look, Dr. Hines made a point, and Kadaki said he wanted to talk more about Dr. Hines's commentary. Dr. Hines raised a point that this thing is bigger than just Comrade Norton. Yes and no. Yes, it's bigger because it's global politics, but it's our oil. It's our oil. It's on our ground, and we're a republic. And if you want to deal with it, then you got to do right by the citizens. As simple as that. I don't consider how many ABCs you got to your name. And we should not be concerned with how many ABCs you got to the name. So Dr. Hines is making the point, and I understand it's bigger. More people are involved. Yes, that's for them. They've got their eyes on our price. So it's bigger because they got their big eye on our business, our assets. But we in Guyana have to say, forget about how many people got their eyes on what we got. It's our oil, and we're a republic, and we've got to mobilize our people to behave like the Palestinians, to behave like they behave in Afghanistan or South Africa or Haiti. We got to bar up for we own. But we are a million miles away from that because we don't empower our people like that. You know why? Because we are busy leaning and appeasing with foreign interests. So if you're appeasing to foreign interests, you can't mobilize your people. How come the WYSM can't mobilize yet? And they mobilize it for Green Line. The YSM, the GYN was mobilizing for the Green Line on Boxing Day. How come they can't mobilize the people yet? I can't mobilize the youth yet.
Wrap up
you
time.
Want to talk about accountability? Okay, I'm going to wrap up. You want to talk about accountability? What is the GYSM doing? Have they been mobilized to mobilize the youth yet? How come we don't want to mobilize the youth? Because we don't want to create no monsters, do we? Because we're afraid if we mobilize the youth, then we will rise up an army. And we can't have an army and satisfy the foreign interests. Becomes a conflict of interest. So come on, not look. We ain't stupid, you know. We ain't stupid. We need accountability, or find someone who could do the job. We're going to keep the pressure on you. And if you think we're bluffing, we're bluffing. We'll show you how we're bluffing at the ballot box. This is not about you. This is about the man in the seat. Once again, thank you for listening.
Thank you for your call. Caller, thank you for holding your life.
Yes, good morning, Kadak. I want to think about it because, you know, these people, man could only do so much. They have coffee talking. Coffee didn't vote for nothing. They have bench cup talking. Bench cup didn't come and vote for nothing. You have a host of them talking, and they are not voting for it. Not the people, let them vote, let $12 and see who comes with the same person that don't come back. That can only do so much. This is that long time when people don't go for the road and you call people and they come out. No since wait, you tell people ain't coming out. Nobody wants to come out. You call him, he go out there, you know. He's going to trade work and we're going to house talking to the people, get him to mobilize. What more can he do? These people talk, all of them work, everybody talk. They want this man go, but if he go out there, he get somebody kill him. What they done said. He shouldn't go out and do this. He can't go out and fight everybody. They have to come out too. If you call them out now, nobody's not coming out. You alone watch you get in and you get in the protest. Ask how many of them coming out there. How many of them coming out to protest on that road? Nobody is coming out. Everybody talking boots on the ground, boots on the ground. How many of them put their boots on the ground? Let them come out and put their boots on the ground before they then talk a lot of nonsense, a lot of trash. That's not this and not that. How much he could do? He's doing a lot. He going also out talking to the people every day. This man is on the road. Every day he going to try to mobilize, get the group, try to get people together, bring them back. But they have a lot of snake in the new. We have a lot of snake there because some of them put Arman is dead. Arman is not there any longer. Arman get people setting up people like Gomes, Larry London, and them to say for pass on some to get them to get nothing out. What nonsense is going on? Arman will give it. Arman unable to do nothing. All he looking for maybe is money looking for. He ain't getting recognized, so he wants putting these dirty people to come out and his dumb ass them to come out to say, well, look, all right, we put in what you call it, no confidence motion against him. This man is doing so much. Coffee talking a lot of trash. He's another trasher because he is there and only tells them that he vote for that. He never vote for that. He is there. Let him come to Guyana and let his process, let the PPP lock him up. Let Betrayal come, let the PPP lock him up. I was listening to Betrayal telling Dr. Hines the other night that didn't go he went to Moko, and Moko it was thinking and walk on. Dr. Hines and Mr. Nat was there together. Mr. Nat was trying to talk to the man and the who digging up the people breaking on the people house and all these things. Mr. Nat went back and trying to get out place and these people stayed the night was there so late, waiting for these people get place the night to sleep. He go back there with this woman, this Indian woman from New York, go there and carry food for these people, carry things so these people get. And these people talking about nothing. Let all them come out and go and come and stand up on the road in front of PPP place and let them lock all of them up. Let them come to Guyana and see what you do. More can come, Betrayal can come, coffee sales can even come. So let it carry the tail, let it side. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Voice note.
Good morning, Kudaki. Good morning, viewers. I was listening to the program for the longest while, and everybody just bombasting Mr. Norton, this, Mr. Norton, though. No, Mr. Norton will get your own ways. You're waking up a sleeping giant. The man can't just take over and go and run, do things. You can't carry a fight and you don't have.
Call all the line.
Ammunition. It takes a certain amount of time. A true politician is feed upon your mistakes. When people making mistakes, they just capitalize. You just allow some people to let them shoot their own self in their own foot, and when you do start to retaliate, they then get no more turning back. So people got to understand what's politics really. They get sometimes they got for pulling head watch the situation, analyze it properly before you take up position. He said to carry a war, because you carry a war. Do you have things to combat or defend yourself? I'm talking about peace, protest, wherever it is it be. Right? Now, you got to analyze the whole situation before you run. And say, man, well, you know, you're taking up a position. Everybody telling man, why don't protest. Enough time, man might go there for protest. When you look around, he's here alone. All these things happen. Right? So you gotta watch the situation, analyze it properly before a person could really make such a drastic move or whatever he promised the people. You gotta hold on. Things don't happen overnight. You don't know. If the US people tell you step down and wait for another 2 years or wait for another year, you don't know. We don't know what's the deal. That's what I'm saying. Politics is not an easy game, because all superpower just want to get control of your country, all of them. So, that's my view for the morning.
Call in live, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. I just want to make a point this morning. I want to say that
Caller,
Tadaki,
I'm listening.
good morning. These people just talking about the Bin Laden, we were out there for 5 months in front of Granger Place. Nobody, Mr. Granger never stopped one day and talk to people. They kill people's spirit. They kill people protesting spirit. I used to go there the day before Mr. Granger gave up. We went to his place with the African clothes. They said they're going to hold a rally. When we come back to coffee, chow pow, when everybody was out there, nobody else. Then the next day you sit down and hear Mr. Granger gave up. He never come out and address the nation. He never tell nobody what went wrong. And Mr. Harmon and them must rest themselves so they stop setting fire. They're too wicked. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you. It's 8 hours 38. Eight hours 38, 22 minutes to the 9 o'clock hour. You tune to the Guyanese morning time. The lines remain open. 6225933 is the number to call. Call it live. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Just now you cut me off anyway. Now there is where you see the testicular fortitude of the thing called Eglon Gomes. He was there spinning a lot of things all the time. Now your man, call him out for a man-to-man talk. It cannot appear on your program. And I'm quite certain he knew that you wanted a man-to-man talk with him. He can't appear. So there is where the people who are listening to things like Eglon Gomes and Norman Brown, they must know what they are listening to. These people are there literally to set fire from a distance, they throw in the kerosene oil and then they flicking the lighter and they causing fire to cause disruption in what is going on. People calling that nobody going out and protest. I am a person, because of talking on programs like yours, going out on protest line, I am being made a victim. Because when you see the case was handed down, imagine the prosecutors, the police in my matter were all Indians. And they said quite clearly, there is no way they could bring me in guilty. But the Indian magistrate said she found me guilty and she knows of my standing in the community. They will pay this atrocious figure of 500,000. That is what I get for protesting and for airing my concerns in this fraudulent government. Now, as a leader, I could remember The last time when you were being arrested, we were out there protesting. A foreign Guyanese, because of how she was talking and she behaving, you knew that she was just home on holiday. And when the police came up and arrested you, the woman went live. And she was cussing nasty. She said, I calling you effing Americans, North American people, would say that Guyanese, they may want for protest. Look what happening here with Kadaki. And the woman was going mad. She said, I now understand what goes on in Guyana in protesting. She even talk how they protested for this because the Black Lives Matter movement and all these things. She said, when we go to protest, the police would come there, yes, to see we maintain a peaceful protest. She said, no police is there to fire on us and arrest us. The woman was there. And when you got a leader got a heart for his people. And if not, no, going out on the road, which he does, will cause people in that procession and all these people out there to be arrested. Right now, Guyana got to be woke, because this is a country of a lot of things. And if you lynch about 20 to 40 people and not getting people frightened, remember body parts. The other day, I just go rolling through Facebook, YouTube, and I saw the atrocities of body harvesting, organ harvesting, especially of kidneys. I don't say we must not go out and protest. Yesterday, I said, look, I got to go, me heels shattering with pain. I said, we got to go, I'm going to give you strength at the court. And when we end up at the last part waiting, soon as we got up, there was a massive black man. And when we said, wonder which court, GECOM, myself and the other person, we didn't say anything. We just sat and we didn't give him anything. And when you came out there and we got up and we walked off, and I turned back, if you see the eye of that man, and all the time, the man was texting and sending what he had to send and keep reporting. And when we got out in the clearing, the bad with me said, you see the man there? He does always stay when we step on the protest line, and he is a police. Outside people, foreigners, now that we are condoning what is going on, we got to know what we go through. I am a marked person. Every day I got to study if I gonna wake up because of what I do in the line of protesting, in the line of talking what goes on in Guyana on a daily basis. And y'all don't bash. We don't know what's the reason for not bringing out the whole set of people on the line. Y'all take the time. And Eglon Gomes, we now see you for who you are. You're just talking from a soiled pampa full of feces and urine. It is overloaded with the mess, and so you're spewing it out. Don't come round me funny. We are here. We know what we go through. Norman Brown, we are here. Jimmy Cliff said, I can't remember this song. Put yourself in my place, only for a day. See if you could stand. You sit in America, when the place is too hot, you got AC. When the place too cold, you got heat. If we get too hot in Guyana, we may have ACs outside, but there is no current to give us coolness in Guyana. That is where we live. This is what we have to go through. So for heaven's sake, when you want to talk, be like that woman. There's a man out there with us who lives abroad, and every day it got protests. He is on the protest line. Come to Guyana and say, you know what? Today I came out there
and levy protest. And when you have done that, when you have walked in our shoes, sit down and base us for not protesting. Bye-bye.
Thank you for your call.
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. A pleasant good morning to you. I'm calling all the way from West Bobis. I was listening to Comrade Dr. Hines' program last night, and I also regularly listen to your program every day also. But then sometimes when the net is not there, you know, the time goes, you don't get it. But then what Mr. Hines was saying last night about going to the villages in West Bobis, I think it's a wise idea, because I'm living in a village, Golden Grove, La Villas. It's just like people isn't living there. Unity is not there. You don't even know where the cemetery is, if you see the place. And they got a whole set of young people, big people, and all could end up trying and do whatever, but then the support is not there, because people need people to talk to them and let them know that if we cannot unite, we cannot be one. We cannot be one. Golden Grove, La Villas, if you see that village. The bushes is one. Covetous land, not even a piece. Right now where I live in at the back of somebody, my father, before he died, end up give the people them 1964 the piece of land in front for rest the house. The people that build big house, I can't even get entrance to walk to go the roadside when rain fall, all the water in the yard and them kind of things. But then God is good, and I just try make the best of it. But I think this is a wise idea, providing that I know if Mr. Hines coming to visit, I will try and limp and go, because I have a problem with my legs. I throw in the arthritis pain. But then if I gotta go out, I will take a taxi, go and come back. It's not that I couldn't walk, but not like before. I could walk and go here and go there and go to whatever occasion it's there. But then I think that's a wise idea, and Dr. Hines should try, as he said, to visit village to village and enlighten the people them and talk to them and let them know unity is strength, and we have to unite. We cannot live like that. We can't live like that. It is so like, you know, just trying to tell you a good morning and tell you about the area and what Dr. Hines said. Thank you.
Morning, Brother Kadaki. I mean, I do a lot of voice notes, and, you know, I just try to get a good one over to you. I think it's time that all of us as a people, especially black people, let's...
Call it life.
Kadaki morning. This morning I gotta disagree with Rhonda on one thing. Rhonda is a poor woman. Rhonda don't have the means. Rhonda is one of the biggest persons who... Rhonda sacrificed more than the Jesus the Christ. You got nothing there, nothing. Ain't coming to front for nothing. All the other parliamentarians ain't coming to front to nothing. So I will make no excuse for none of them. Right? None whatsoever. Rhonda is doing what majority of them need to do with zero in her pocket. Right? She find her way somehow to reach to you guys and protest wherever you are. Only fathers could do the thing like that. You know what I mean? And one other thing, I never know that prisons now got condo and apartment complex, because the Minister of Name said that prison population is up but crime is down. It's a good thing. You're doing a good business in prison there now. Anyhow, that's all I have to say today.
Thank you.
Put our indifferences aside. All these, everybody coming up on these shows and they talk about who better and who want better. I think what we need is one sound, one accord, unity. Let we call out for the unity. Let we call out for unity. There's important the unity. Let we stop with this kind of way that we get against one another. every time you come on the show, people come on the show, it's just the Bambase one another who want Bambase in this body, Bambase in this the body. Who we got to Bambase is Jack Dio. Who we got for Bambase is Jack Dio, and keep up the pressure with the Jack Dio and the Sue situation. Let me ease this thing. All we supposed to do is try to encourage one another. Let me do the encouragement. Every one of us, let me encourage one another. Let me put aside those petty indifferences with who's representing and who unrepresenting. We got the biggest picture. We got the big snake to deal with, which is the PPP. And we're supposed to focus on using this program to talk just about how we're going to be able to attack this evilous force and bring it down, the PPP. This is not a PPP of Dr. Jedi Jagan. This is not the PPP of Dr. Jedi Jagan. This is an evilous regime led by Anil Nandalal, Barra Jagdeo, people like Nigel Dharamlal, and people like Irfan Ali and the others get sucked into it. They were sucked into it. You could see these people, these set of people that get sucked into it, they really want to be like that, but they got to go answer because of the leaders, the evilest leaders. So we got to ease this kind of pulling and this kind of running down one another. Listen to what Dr. Heinz talking. We need the unity. This is the strength we want. We need the unity. Let me ease but what Granger do and what Norton and do and what this body do and what the body and do. This is not the time for that. We need the unity. Guyanese black people, please, I beg y'all, we need the unity. We need the unity for take down this big evil snake that is trying to crush the Indians that want to speak out, the Amerindians that getting disadvantage taken on them, the Indians that being racially discriminated against. This is what we got to deal with. This evilest force in the PPP. Let me look at what's going on. Look what's going on in the parliament. Look how the speaker going on. Those are the important things. Those are the important things we got to look at. Please, Guyanese, please, my black brothers and sisters, we stifling we Indian brothers and sisters who want to speak out with the attitude. We stifling we Amerindian brothers and sisters who want to speak out with the attitude. We got to ease it and we got to do it now. We have to do it now. There's the point that brother. David Hines trying to put over to us. We got to ease that now. Thank you.
Thank you for that voice. Thank you. That's a good place to start to plead for unity. We need unity. Good morning. Welcome to another program of Buxtonian Morning Time. Good morning to you. Welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time, hosted by the Buxtonian Kidaki Amsterdam. Welcome to the program. It's 23 minutes past the 7 o'clock hour. And of course, you're locked on. How was your weekend? Share the life, please. How was your weekend? How was the past week? Yeah. I trust you had a great weekend. I hope you were able to rest and recuperate. And so you're re-energized for this morning and the week ahead. It's the end of January, basically. We got a day left. And so I did make a commitment. I don't know if any of you remember hearing me say it. That Kams Saturday Rhythms will return in the month of February. I have had to take the I'll be honest with you. I'm still thinking whether or not I can keep it at Saturday Rhythms. Because doing the Saturday Rhythms means I have to give up some time. And I found that that time really and truly could be critical to my income on the weekends, right? When I'm off of this program from Friday morning, Saturday and Sunday gives me a better chance of getting certain things done. And so, for the start of this year, in the month of January, this month here, I just decided I was going to focus on working on those things. But I'm committed to doing Saturday Rhythms. It's a program that I know a lot of you are going to like and you look forward to. And so I don't want to rob you of that opportunity. Likewise, I don't want to rob myself of the opportunity to earn because, you know, I depend on me to earn, to live. I have a family to provide for, etc., etc. So sometimes you have to weigh the pros and cons. But in any way, shape, or form, I'm going to find a way to continue to do the entertainment aspect of what we do here, Kams Saturday Rhythms. Hopefully, I'll be able to keep it Kams Saturday Rhythms. I also recognize one of our new viewers. I say one of our new viewers because I recognize the person as a new viewer, at least in number, as saying that he enjoys the program and so on, and maybe it would be good to do a special edition on Sundays, so that those people who didn't get to participate in the course of the week could participate on Sundays. You know, when I got the suggestion first, the first thing that came to mind is who paying for it? Who paying for it? Because time is money. And we have to be real. Time is money. And every minute, second, hour, I sit in front of the screen, it's an investment. In this instance, I need to get my handkerchiefs. I just came into the studio and put on the AC and found out that it's not working. That's how I operate. I know what's the problem. One of the breakers must have tripped. I was having this electrical issue yesterday with the breakers tripping. So that one must not have been put back in its original position. I can't go and find it now because I don't know it by itself. Right? I'll have to go search through a set of things. God, so that outside the way. Forgive me for showing signs of life. It's called perspiration. Right, so where am I? Yes, I'm saying time is money, and so every minute, second, hour I stay here, it's an investment. Guyanese morning time, it's an investment. I started the journey alone. There are some people who've joined me on that journey. It's not as efficient as it can be or ought to be in terms of the assistance I get on this journey, Guyanese morning time. But it's a sacrifice that I was prepared to make from the inception, and so I will continue to make that sacrifice. I would be happy if more people come on and support the program, financially and otherwise. I would be happy for that. I usually talk my mind sometimes when I start talking, and it looks like as though I'm going to talk some of that this morning. Because it all fits into the program title this morning, African Betrayal in Apartheid Guyana. Yes, I can count on my fingers, I usually say, the people who, quote unquote, religiously contribute to this program. And let me clarify it. When I say count on my fingers, I can count on the fingers of one hand, the people who religiously contribute to the upkeep of Guyanese morning time. Good? Now, if you can count those people on these, let me be scientifically correct, 4 fingers and 1 thumb, then you can imagine what that contribution is like on a monthly basis. But like I said, that's a sacrifice I was prepared to make from the inception. I started this journey alone. I'm grateful for those people who have joined me, who have been assisting along the way. Good. The task has become bigger, much bigger than when I started, when I imagined it. Because when I started, I was of the opinion I'll just sit on social media and bring to the fore things which people ought to pay attention to. Right? Things which people ought to pay attention to. That was my original intent. But then I recognized that there was this absence in several aspects of what we do in this country in the name of politics and representation of people. And so I decided, as you notice, I have become more than a social media activist. I've always been more than a social media activist. But I've really taken on a responsibility of activism, and I go where people call for representation. I represent people, I identify, I highlight the issues and so on. And so that has really expanded my original intent, and certainly has driven up cost in terms of maintaining that. Good? So while I'm saying yes, it's a sacrifice I was prepared to make, I'm saying no, it's a bigger sacrifice. I've taken on other things out of the recognition of what is happening in our communities and the need for help. For example, I provide every Friday meals to a particular set of children at a particular school in the community. I learned recently, and I mentioned it Friday, I think, that there's a need to increase the number of meals that go to that particular school in the community, because there's more evidence of more children not having snacks or meals that are nutritional enough in terms of value, or even satisfying in terms of dealing with their hunger. Right? Good. So that's another aspect of what I do. Forget all the other things which people will come to me for in terms of representation in the community and so on and so forth. So that initial sacrifice has now grown into a whole undertaking. Right? Good. So the more people that can partner with me, the more people that can partner with Kams TV, the easier will that burden be. Like we say, teamwork makes the dream work. As I am saying that, let me shout out to, I don't like to call people's names unless they ask me to, but I received some trousers, denim trousers, I think, last week for distribution to children, and that distribution has started. And in handing out a couple of those trousers up to yesterday, I was saying to my, I wonder if this person really wants photographs and so on, because it's one of my most uncomfortable things. I don't give people, I don't do quote unquote charity in front of the camera, right? But trust me, I know my heart. Those who are close to me know my heart. Those things are being handled, they're being given to the people who need them the most. Some people would meet me along the way here and say, I hear you giving out things, but you didn't include me. I didn't include you because I don't think you are needy enough. Right? I might be a poor judge, forgive me for that. But I operate in the community and I have a fair idea of all of those people who, everybody is needy. Let me say that. Everybody needs something. Or everybody, no, let me don't say that. Everybody wants something. But I don't think everybody is in need. Good? Of those basic things which we here get to hand out to people every now and again. Good? So some people would reach you and say, you didn't include me. No, I didn't. Because I don't think you need that which we have to distribute. And if we have stuff to distribute that I think you are in need of, then I'll ensure you get. And so we have to understand that it's not everything you see must get. Some people need to understand that, right? And so I'm grateful when folks like the gentleman I'm mentioning step forward and say, listen, I got these things and I think they can be useful to children in your community or adults in your community and so on. I'm always happy to facilitate. And that's usually my disclaimer. Don't expect a ton of photos and don't do it I grew up hearing you must not be poor in public, and so I can't bring myself. It's one of the most difficult things to put people to stand up with a hamper that you give them or clothing or whatever you give them and take photographs with them, right? Either to post on social media, so worse. No one expect me to post nothing on social media. But so I am happy for that kind of partnership. And I'm saying partner with me, partner with us, partner with Kams TV, partner with the Guyanese Morning Time. And let us continue to impact our community. Right? Let's continue to impact our community. Because we need that kind of activism. Activism can't be left to the parliamentarians alone. They got to do their thing. They got to argue in parliament and so on. That's up to them. Right? And it can't be left to folks like myself alone. We got to do what we think too. Teamwork makes the dream work. That's what is important. All of us must coordinate in such a way that what we do make a real difference in our community. I see the advice being given here is, Mr. Kidaki, do what is best for you. Do not cut your nose and spoil your face. You cannot please everyone. You have to rest and keep check on your health too. Our bodies give us signals which we ignore. That's true. And I saw an earlier comment which said, boy, look after your income first. Those are very good advice. I will tell you that. I respect that advice. Very good advice. But I will sit here and tell you that while I recognize the importance of the advice and the genuineness of it, and I will try to be guided by it, it's not in my DNA. I can't sit down and look after me alone. I can tell you that. Right? And so, as they say, once I eat it, I good. Right? Once I eat it, I good. I don't strive to be a multi-billionaire and so on. So once I can take care of my bills and I can eat and so on and be comfortable, I am willing to sacrifice what many might call the excesses. Let other people live, man. Right? So yes, thank you for that advice. Thank you very much for that advice. I will keep it in mind. I will try to act responsibly. Let me say that. Right? It's difficult. I usually, and I've said it before, it's difficult to see yourself in comfort and the people around you are in squalor. It's difficult if you're a human being, or if you really love humanity. It's really, really difficult to do that. Yes, I came across a post yesterday. I don't think I ramble it, you know. It's life lessons we're sharing this morning, because we have to grow as a people, right? I came across a post yesterday that was talking about growth versus success versus what, accomplishment. I can't remember the other one. But from that post, I learned, or I recognized, look, growth is being able to multiply what you got. You start with 10 homes, you know, you got 20 of them now, you got growth. Right? But if when you look at what you acquired and the things you had to do for it, you had to be an unethical individual. Your ethics, you threw ethics through the door to acquire that. You ain't grow. You have not grown, you have acquired, you have expanded. Yes, expansion, you have expanded. But when you look at that expansion and you add ethics to it and you recognize, I've been very, very ethical. I've not robbed nor cheated anybody in this journey that got me here. Then you can say you've grown. And when you look at that growth, Then you look at that growth. And you look around at the people. And you realize that you have no fairness, no love, or you have no fairness, no love, no compassion for them. Then you have not succeeded. So your success is really determined by the ethics of your expansion and humility or humanity. And so, yeah, I might focus on my income, I might focus on myself, I can't cut my nose and expand my face and so on. And I'm expanding, and from one car I got 5 cars, and I got multiple homes and properties and businesses and so on. And people are in squalor around me. I'm not a success story. Can be. When I can help to bring those people out of the squalor, then I can consider their needs, be humane in my actions. Then I can consider myself a success. And this doesn't have to be with your family alone. You have this, you live in a community, and you have to keep that in mind. Community. Right? And the more humans, the more us as people take that approach to life, I think better would be our quality of life, and better would be the our quality of life, because the community's life will be improved. And if where we're dwelling is improved, then we will improve. We will have a better sense of security, because if you have less people living in poverty and squalor and need, you have less people to make you uncomfortable, either by stealing or having to turn up at your gate in the middle of the night to plead for a meal. And so as individuals, we have to look at those aspects of our humanity, those aspects of what we do. It's not about me being popular. It's not about me being able to shake hands with leaders and stuff like that. What matters really and truly is about the people around you in your community and extension your country being able to enjoy a better quality of life. And if you as a leader, if you as an activist are not concerned about that, then you're in the wrong place. And so let me address this one. I got a message last week by a phone call, from someone in Linden. And this is particularly troubling. It's troubling. This person works with the system in Linden as a handyman. This is a male working as a handyman. The females were working as janitors and whatever else. And a complaint I got from this individual is that in the month of December, when the announcements were made for increases in salaries and so on, the handymen did not get their wages and salaries increase. They did not benefit from that 8%. As meager as it is, they did not benefit from that 8%. But on the other hand, the janitors, the females, they got their 8%. That's one. The second thing that was reported to me is that while the females were paid somewhere around, I think, the 21st or the week of the 21st of December, the janitors were not paid until perhaps Christmas Eve Day. I can't remember the exact day, but it was very close to Christmas or past Christmas when they got their pay. And the complaint came because it appears as though the same thing has happened in January. The females were paid since about 2 weeks ago. And up to when I received that call last week, towards the weekend, the male, the handymen were still awaiting their pay. And this would have been perhaps last Monday. Is it last Monday the budget debate started? I reached out to someone who I'm of the opinion has contact with the Linden RDC, because I think this might be an RDC matter. Send information to them and ask them to look into it. To date, I have not received a response. But if I get out here now and start calling some names and be really, really public and nasty, you're going to hear Mr. Amsterdam could have quietly contacted us and find out what is happening. It's a week. It's a week. I have not received an update from the gentleman if they were paid subsequently. Today is the 30th of January. Good? It's a week, and if you're the people's representative, I know you got your plate full. We got our plate full. But sometimes you just gotta lose 20 minutes of sleep. Excuse me. You have to lose 20 minutes of sleep. Because you know that janitor, that handyman is really and truly depending on that pittance to feed his family and pay his bills. And so when you hear that someone, quote unquote, low down in the system, who barely making a minimum wage, which we know is dark cheap, is not getting paid on time, you should want to lose sleep to fix that situation. You should want to lose sleep. Where's your humanity? Why is it happening in the first place? But no, we perhaps got tunnel vision. All right, I'm informed. I'm going to see what's going to happen. I'm going to find out. I mean, it's terrible that this is happening. A week after, what happened? I'd be glad if the next day the person got the money, and I would be happy to know that I'm ill-informed, and so I can have to make these comments this morning. But these are the kind of things which determine whether or not we are successful. These are the kind of things. I'm calling on the mayor and whoever else. Region 10, the Linden, the RDC, the NDCs and all the authorities, whoever these men are contracted to. Y'all look into the people's salary issues and pay them on time. Explain to them at least why it is they weren't given the 8% increase in the wages and salaries. Explain, for example, I'm assuming they didn't qualify. Explain why they didn't qualify, so they get an understanding. That's humanity, that's leadership. You're not dressing up in suit and tie and running to, where the place there? Convention Center. To say I'm a parliamentarian and I'm representing the people. Representation of the people really and truly, the meat of the representation and the people is on the ground. Where people suffering, where people punishing. That's where it gotta take place. I usually see a lot of people, a lot of quote-unquote leaders in these political parties that are in government or were in government and so on. They don't have the fire in their belly to represent poor people regardless of ethnicity. Because a lot of them don't know what it has been to be poor. A lot of them don't know poverty. A lot of them have not seen their parents really struggle to make ends meet for the family. They've never seen their parents struggle to put a meal on the table. When I talk to some people and tell them I know about saltfish curry and egg curry, they say, well, I never hear about that. People is actually cooking curry and saltfish curry and saltfish chow mein and so. A lot of these folks who are representing our people don't understand what it is to be poor, what it is to struggle. They either born with gold or silver spoon in their mouth, or they had access to some resource somewhere in shape, form, or other. And so they have this disconnect between them who are receiving a parliamentary salary or stipend or whatever they call it, them who have access to power, the corridors of power, and the people that they really represent. There's a disconnect because they have never had the experience. Let me make this a test case. I want any of y'all to tell me. I don't know. It's not something I know. But it just dawned on me that of all the representatives we have in parliament, let's say on the opposition benches, and furthermore, let me include the whole government on the opposition and the government benches. Can you identify, let me say two, one from each side, persons, representatives of the people who have ever had to squat? Can you identify any two? Whoever went and lived on squatting land, as they say, who went and squat, built a shack, unauthorized, on a piece of state land and lived there? Can you identify two of them for me? And if I can't find two squatters or two former squatters in parliament, it means the representation in parliament is joke. Because it means a critical mass of our people are not representative in that house, are not represented in that house. People who go through this struggle and nobody struggle and understand what the low class and the oppressed and the poor in this society are going through, and therefore can identify with measures that will pull them out of those situations. And so when you hear people sit in parliament and say, for example, don't give them no $1 million, they're going to go and drink it out. That's their culture. Because they're custom for the stipend sitting in the government office for going to drink out 500,000, $1 million, and forget $2 million and $3 million at bar, stool and bar table and all kind of thing. That's their culture. So they watch poor people and they say, if we give them the $1 million, they're going to go to Palm Court and forget it on the countertop. They're going to go to Marriott and sport it out. They're going to go to Bamba Mali and have a blast with their friends. That's what they're saying. Because people are informed according to their way of life. And then understand that for a poor man, $1 million mean I could send them children to school. I could pay my child's university fee. I could invest in that little cottage industry that I always had dreams of investing in, that I see as making a possibility for a turnaround in my life. They don't see the $1 million that. Because $1 million to them, $1 million in their sight is joke. That's why they just fed the boys with. And so there's this big disconnect between the representatives of the people and the people that they represent. Because they really can't associate, they can't identify with what people got to go through. When a man called himself Minister of Finance and the government telling people that they're caring and they care about the people, well, at $3,000 $3,000. $15 to the pensions of old people. And say that they care. Let me tell you something. I know, but I do on a yearly basis go to the doctor for an annual checkup. I went a couple of weeks. It's over 300 US it cost. And it was just a checkup. The medication, as you get older, you need medical help. You need nutritional assistance. I bought the capsules, let me call, what we call them? Super B complex. A 1 month supply, B complex, is a $3,000. What about the other things which the doctors would recommend? Use a lot of zinc. Use vitamin D, use this, use it. How you helping these people you say you care about? The money that they're already getting isn't sufficient to give them a balanced meal on a daily basis. So the nutritional value of those meals that the average Guyanese poor eat on a daily basis is shot. It ain't got nutritional value. All of Guyanese is eating this place is belly full. A whole plate of rice and a little bit stew, when it should be the opposite around. So much starch and a little bit so or the other things. That's what we eat, belly full. And these people tell you that they care. When your representatives can put themselves, as they say, walk a mile in my shoe, then is when you're going to get better representation in this country. But right now, it's just some kind of parade. I can't call it fashion. I don't even know what to call it. It's a parade. You think the fire in the belly of Nemo flu just happened overnight? And I say Nemo flu because I recognize her as one of the most active, down on the ground, representative of the people of the people in Parliament. Yeah. And you can see her being as passionate as she is on that East Bank corridor. Because that is where she grew. That's where she knew. That's where she saw the discrimination and everything that she has determined in her mind that she has to fight against. How many Nemo flus you have in our National Assembly, man? A lot of them grew up in Pachanagar and so on. And from Newton areas, bourgeois. They know what it is to stand up on the roadside and face sun. Sharon Belgrave, something is wrong with your system if you're not getting sound, because I am certainly reading good. Right? It's a sickening thing. And we got to fix that. And it's not being fixed because a lot of those folks is save ourselves, look after ourselves. Don't cut we nose and spite we face. It is what is in it for me and not what is in it for the people. I'll tell you that. You ain't getting no quality kind of representation from a lot of our representatives because a lot of them in bed with the enemy of the people. And so they too are enemies of the people. I'm being very real. I ain't attacking anybody. I'm analyzing a situation. So for the next 2 weeks or so, we're going to hear all kinds of talk and pronouncements in the National Assembly on the budget, but guess what? After the budget done pass, everybody gone back to the normal thing. Hobnobbing, late night meetings, middlemen dealing, and so on and so forth. That's the reality we have to confront. A budget that offers little or nothing to the poor man. Listen. I grew up in a time where, from the time they start talking about budget, everybody used to wait for the jet land, as we used to say in school. For boredom time budget. For boredom, looking back, was president in this country under austerity measures. And Desmond Knight was president under austerity measures. And when they read the budget, and people didn't like what they hear on the budget because there was no real providence. For the smaller man, protests were in the streets. Led by labor leaders, led by political leaders, led by religious leaders. Are things so nice in this country for the ordinary man that a budget that gives very little or nothing, quite frankly, to the ordinary man in this society was read a week ago, and you have not seen one inkling of protest? You have not seen any protest? The churches have not criticized nor condemned it. Labor, I think I saw Lincoln Lewis talking. Nobody else really. Political leaders, I see the coalition talking, leader of the PNCR and the coalition, whoever, Harvey Norton. But that's all that is happening. Talk. Where is the protest? Where's the demand to shut the country down until public servants are told what is in the budget for them? Where's the talk? We talking, but we ain't saying shut the country down until there's a clear pronouncement on what the public servants will get. Huh? Y'all talk to me. Ronald likes to talk about when Granger was in government and how quick the Guyana Teachers Union, led by Mark Light, the same team that is here right now almost, Mark Light and Coretta McDonald, Mark Light as president, Coretta's general secretary, how quick they were willing to come onto the street and protest against the Granger government, which was doing a whole lot better than the PPP. Where is Mark Light and Coretta McDonald today? Where do they stand today? I don't hear them calling for protest. I don't see them protesting. I don't see them telling teachers what to rule. But they were quick to do it under the Granger government, which was doing more for teachers and other public servants than the PPP has done or is doing. When the Granger government, despite there was a multi-year agreement signed between the Guyana Teachers Union and the government of Guyana, when the Granger government announced increases for public servants, they said as an interim, teachers will get the same increases. And those increases, as far as I know, were higher than the multi-year agreement increases. I challenge Coretta or Mark Light or anyone from GTU to tell me it was different. But you don't see them saying, listen, this government announced several weeks ago 8% for public servants, nothing for teachers. You don't see them saying anything. So, are the political leaders, the religious leaders, comfortable? The union leaders comfortable with what is happening? I'm arguing that they're comfortable. But the people they represented, the people they represent are not comfortable, and they don't give three hands about that. Because if they cared, the approach would have been different. It's all well and good to say this. It's all well and good to say. Orbie as political leader of the opposition and PNCR and so on has some agreement with the ABCE countries. That is what people are saying. Let me say it is alleged. People are assuming that Orbie has this agreement with the ABCE countries and so on, not to protest and not to disrupt the city and so on. Politicians wheel and deal. That's what they got to do. A lot of them do it for their own survival. They see themselves as political beings, and if they're going to survive, they got to maneuver among the sharks. What happened to the labor representatives, man? They got the same agreement with the ABCE countries as the political representatives. What happened to the religious representatives? They got the same agreement as the labor and political representatives. So all of them quiet. Well, if all of them got the same representatives, it means all of them in bed with the enemy. All of them taking pay whether above or below the table. Or perhaps at the side. Most of them don't take it over. It's beyond them. So based on these discussions, I am to assume that your political leaders, your religious leaders, and your labor leaders all are being paid, quote unquote, by EXXON to stay quiet and allow you to suffer. They might see it as success or expansion or growth. Where's the humanity? Anyways, it's 6 minutes past 8 o'clock. I want to address this one thing before I move on. And it's this morning's topic, to be exact. Betrayal of Africans in this country. Betrayal of Africans in this country. Do you recognize the amount of betrayal that black people has got through in this country? Huh? You all recognize the level of betrayal? I'm going to share with you a story that I read. A story all of you should be paying attention to. It's a story between Apartheid and Barjagdio, or the government of Guyana. Apartheid resorted to taking the government of Guyana to court over the subvention, because a subvention was passed, or some order was passed in the National Assembly that gives the Apartheid an annual subvention. And y'all remember over the talk of Apartheid Guyana, that symposium that Coffee 250 held under the title Confronting the Emerging Apartheid State in Guyana, or something to the extent. But Jagdo decided that he's going to make Apartheid an example. He's going to lose a cat among the rats. Right? It's going to cause serious discord and disruption among black people and their representative organizations. And so he started a campaign to discredit people like Vincent Alexander and Olive Sampson, leaders of Apartheid and so on. Started that campaign, and then he hinted, as a matter of fact, not only hinted, but they withheld the subventions from Apartheid. And such things happened. As far as I remember, Vincent Alexander sued by Jagdio for defamation, perhaps. And Apartheid eventually took the government to court to challenge the withholding of the subvention. While all of this is happening, I can tell you, because of my activism again, there are lots of African Guyanese organizations and their leaders who are walking around the place and saying, Bar Jagdi on the PPP right. Right? Bar Jagdi on the PPP right, the party G don't do nothing for African Guyanese in this country. With all the money what the PPP said to get them and they collect, they ain't do nothing for we. Not understanding, first and foremost, Apartheid is a service organization. Service is not a tangible. Y'all understand that? Service is not a tangible. It's intangible. But our people are always looking for tangibles. And so the PPP is doing a lot for them by giving them $10,000 grant. $10,000, one cash money, one hold it. There's a tangible. The PPP doing good for me by they giving me $10,000. But Apartheid ain't doing none for me, despite the fact that they're doing research and they're doing training and they're doing programming that would really and truly help to educate and elevate us. They ain't doing nothing with all this money they're getting. That's our people. In short, those African organizations that can't put their hand on the cash money that the Apartheid get, got a problem with Apartheid. Because they and their leaders especially would like to put their hand on the money and control it like Apartheid leaders. I don't know if I can explain it any simpler. And so since it's not we collecting the money, Jack owe them right. Right? Jack owe them right. That is what a lot of Africans going around this place say, you know. Jack Dio recognize, the PPP recognize. The effect, the impact of tangibles. And so what the PPP has done? Through the Ministry of Culture, I'm going to tell you some nastiness this morning, you're going to vomit. They've been doing it for years gone by. The Granger government came and cleaned it up. And the PPP took over and started doing it again. When Granger went into office, when the coalition went into office, and they did what I'm calling an audit of the Ministry of Culture and the Department of Culture and the programming. In the month of July, leading up to August, which is Emancipation Month, there's a budgetary head, I will call it, where the Ministry of Culture hands out financial help to African cultural organizations so that they can effect their programs which they plan for the emancipation observances. The PPP has used that over the years while they were in office. as a source of corrupting and buying African Guyanese leaders. Because once you pledge allegiance to them, they give you a big hug of the money. Once you don't pledge allegiance to them, you get a pittance. The history, the records are right there to show. In African Guyanese communities, where they have their friends and cronies, they allow them to form paper organizations and go and collect that money in the month of July. In many instances, they do nothing with that money in keeping with the program for emancipation and so on. I can tell you, in Buxton, my understanding is that there were about 12 organizations on paper. A whole set of people masquerading as African Guyanese representatives in Buxton who host an emancipation program in Buxton. A whole host of them used to go and collect the money, and they are all PPP foot soldiers. I know the names too. And I know the names of the organization which are masquerade as existing. We've never heard of them in Buxton. We've never seen them do anything in Buxton. But every year they're going to collect money, big money. And the PPP is quite aware of that. But that is how the PPP has been buying black people out. I don't think I'm straying. I'm coming to right where I want us to be. I'm showing you how the betrayal is happening. Right? And so when Granger came in and they recognized this thing, and they really did an investigation as to which of these organizations are really functioning, they found the bona fides, and they whittled down the list. And so in Buxton, for example, out of 10 or 12 organizations, you might have ended up with 2. The 1st of August movement, which is the most legitimate African cultural organization in Buxton, being one of them. And I think the heritage, Buxton Friendship Heritage, I think. And so for the period Granger, the government was there, these squassy, these thieving paper organizations couldn't draw. I know a lot of people are going to be angry because they're talking about this, because they don't want me to talk about it. But I'm sure I'm dealing with African Guyanese betrayal now, and I got to deal with it. But as soon as the PPP went back into office, these paper organizations have reemerged. And for the people in the media who were there when checks were being handed out and so on, for last year's cultural emancipation, cultural activities and so on, go and check the list and investigate which of these are really bona fide African Guyanese organizations, and you're going to know what I'm talking about. And it's a part of what you have to do if you're going to understand this lawsuit and this thing I'm going to read just now about what the Chief Justice said. Because then you're going to understand the importance of these quote-unquote 4 African Guyanese organizations that want to join this action. And why the PPP is so anxious to get them to join. We're going to talk about that. Understand? So those of you in the media, know the media representatives that listen, because they see when the right stories coming off for Guyanese Morning Time. So y'all listen and go and do your work. Right? And so this is how the buyout happens. Since the PPP has been back in office, people collecting money again. And so a lot of those very people are the ones walking around and say, Jack Dio right to do Ipare G what he is doing to Ipare G. And to attack and organize a representative African Guyanese organization. Jack Dio right. Because first and foremost, they ain't tell you that we in Jack Dio camp. And Jack Dio does allow us to thief in the name of African Guyanese. Note, I'm not saying everything is well at Ipare-G. Ipare-G might have its own problems. I don't know what they are, but some of them might vary. Every organization has problems. So let me keep that in mind. But sometimes we have to sit back and ask ourselves, does the good exceed the bad? Is there a possibility we can work and fix this thing? Or we should just block it up and done? Right? You gonna ask those young people if Apartheid making sense. A lot of them who got businesses now because of training and so on that they received and support that they still get. Gonna ask the Henry's family if Apartheid making sense considering what it did for them in their times of troubles. Go around the country and talk with people. Remember, it's a service organization. Right? Ask if they what is it? They not mentoring. When you go through trauma, help me. The what? The counseling services that those people receive, if they consider that it makes sense to me, Prodigy. Right? But that's just saying this is going on in other villages, Mr. Hampson. I just explained it. Must listen back to the program. Right? Ask those people if what Apartheid is doing is making sense to them. Ask them that. Now let me go read this dirty story. I don't know how many of you have read it. Because they say if you want to hide knowledge from black people, put it in print. This is from the Guyana Post. I don't know how credible Guyana Post is. I don't even know what Guyana Post is, but it's a story I'm following. It says, dispute over funding for Apartheid is a national embarrassment. Chief Justice acting, excuse me, acting Chief Justice urges mediation. Hope y'all know it's mediation because they can't explain it right now. Right? But mediation suggests an alternative route to the court. Man, y'all don't go to court. Don't come to court and wash your dirty linen. This thing embarrassing bad. Y'all sit down with two people that y'all trust and work it out. Because really and truly, the government up on stupidness and the organization must be up on stupidness too. So both of y'all going to look like stupidness. Y'all settle this thing behind closed door. Right? That's what Roxanne George telling them. She said the dispute over funding for Apartheid is a national embarrassment. So I'm going to read a story. Acting Chief Justice, let me share it with you. I'll put it on the replay on my screen. Right. Acting Chief Justice Roxanne George today, that was the 26th of January, described the ongoing dispute over funding for Apartheid, which has now evolved into a lawsuit, as a national embarrassment. She has urged the parties involved to seek mediation. Quote, this embarrassment to our nation, 2 years to go, and we will be in this imbroglio, maybe heading all the way to the Caribbean Court of Justice. How will that look in relation to us as a state? I am not saying that persons don't have the right to appeal and go all the way to the apex court, which hopefully will settle the matter. End quote. Justice George said, as she underscored the importance of having the matter resolved. She expressed the view that the case will more than likely be sent to mediation. The pronouncement was made even after 4 Afrocentric organizations applied to be added to the case and were denied. The case was filed against the Guyana government by Apartheid, challenging the government's decision to withhold its monthly subvention of $8 million from the organization, although the money had already been passed and approved by the National Assembly. Now note, the money was passed and approved. There's a law, right? The National Assembly passed and approved the money. Give the people the money, some will say. During today's hearing, Attorney Ayana McCalman made an application for the Ghana Rastafarian Council, the People of African Descent Region 10, the African Movement, and the Ambessa Sustainable Development Foundation to join the case, claiming that they all have a vested interest in the matter before the court. Well, when you hear Guyana Rastafarian Kongsa here, Raslian Saul, the spoiler. Right? Y'all hear me? The spoiler, Leon Saul. They say, show me a company and tell you who you are. I will continue. I found they have a vested interest in the matter before the court. The attorney explained that the 4 organizations were founding members of Apartheid and would like an opportunity to be heard before the conclusion of the case. She said the 4 organizations are concerned about the conversion of the Apartheid organization into a company. Attorney Nigel Hughes, who is representing the Apartheid, told the court that the 4 organizations are not members of the limited liability company, which was a recipient of the government's subvention. In rejecting the applications, the Chief Justice explained that the organizations referenced a number of internal issues in their application that do not fall within the remit of the current case before the court, pointing out that, quote, if they have an internal dispute, that is to be dealt with by them and not in the context of this case, end quote. Attorney General Anil Nandlal was not happy with the Chief Justice's decision to exclude the 4 organizations from being added to the case. And then you ask yourself, is Anil Nandlal ever happy with anything that is to the benefit of African Guyanese in this country? And so since he is unhappy with that, you must ask if it was a good or a bad decision for an African Guyanese organization. He contended that the concerns being raised by the organizations appear similar to the concerns of the Minister of Culture, who was defending his ministry's decision to hold back the group subvention. The Chief Justice did not budge from her position and maintained her ruling. She said, adding the 4 organizations could lead to other groups laying claim, and that could result in a recipe for chaos, which she will not allow. Before adjourning the matter to the 27th February, Justice George said, there is still the possibility of mediation, and she wants both sides to consider that route. Betrayal of African Guyanese in Apartheid Guyana. That is my topic. Let's talk about the betrayal. The likes of Leon Saul, and I dare argue representatives of these other 3 organizations, which have been encouraged by the PPP to join this action, to provide argument in support of the PPP's case against Apartheid, is what the betrayal is. We have seen so much of this happen across this country, and it continues to happen across this country because African Guyanese are the best at fighting themselves. I'm going to show y'all. In the days of Fabs Burnham, it was African Guyanese who were out there in bigger numbers fighting the Indian cause against the Fabs Burnham government, fighting the Indian cause against the Desmondite government. That fought eventually succeeded in 92. Where are the Indians now fighting the African Guyanese cause against this Indian government? You won't find it happening. Many of us think the fight was justified against Burnham and Hyde. But we are seeing worse being done in this society right now by an Indian government. But the Indians are not seeing justification for fighting them on our behalf. But we, despite the fact that an Indian government is oppressing us, there are many among us who are still seeing justification to fight on the side of that Indian government against us, the oppressed. Like the spoiler Leon Saul, etc. If I do not commend any other decision made by EXXON George in my life, I commend this one. Because I see it for what it is. A group of bought out and paid out African Guyanese masquerading as representatives of African Guyanese wanting to join an action that is bad for an African Guyanese representative organization to destroy it, to bury it, to ensure that there is one less group of people who can stand as a defense of African Guyanese against the oppression of this PPP government. And I'm saying it again, and I'm saying it loudly. This is a betrayal of African Guyanese by African Guyanese, bought and paid for by the PPP. And those who recognize it for what it is must decide what they're going to do about it. Winnie Mandela will always be admired by me as an activist because she did what had to be done when she realized that there were too many snakes among them in the struggle against apartheid in South Africa. It is now 8 hours 30. The lines are home. Make your voices known. The lines are home. 6225933 is the number to call. Barrett Jagdio, the government of Ghana has been trying to avoid this matter going forward all the time. They were asking for suspension upon suspension because they were working the fields to gather their token Negroes to join the action. And so they gathered the token Negroes and they made the application for them to join the action. We must see them for what they are. That's what we must do. 6225933. Yes, she played a big part in the way things are in Ghana. Sometimes I like to tell you all the Bible story. I don't remember if it's Paul or Saul that they get boxed off of a jackass and became the other. Was it Paul who was prosecuting the people of Christ? One box off a jackass and he wake up named Saul, or the other way around. But then he start doing the work of Christ. One box off a jackass. Sometimes people do all manner of ills, and then they wake up one morning and realize, you know, there's no benefit in this thing. And my gut tangible, but I don't have peace of mind. My conscience is killing me. I always say, when man and man got a problem, they could live with it because they ain't got to see each other. But when you got to live with your conscience, that it pricks you every day, that has be a demise. And so I don't care how much bad you say Roxanne George bad. And how much else she contributed in this society. Yeah, maybe she's getting an awakening now. Because she's realizing all the good she did for the PPP is not redounding to her benefit, let me see. At least that one thing she would like to achieve. Like her father. You know, her father was Chief Justice George. I think she would love to be Chief Justice. But she realized, all the good I do for the PPP, I ain't getting no pay. They don't think me as good enough. So I'm only making myself that which has too long ears and tail. So maybe she has an awakening. Y'all stop cussing the woman. I got two of them. Call on WhatsApp only line. Let me take a straight line call. Hopefully I'm not discriminating. Call a line, good morning.
Good morning.
Call all the line please on WhatsApp.
Good morning, Mr. Kadaki. I want to say, I don't know why this government is so wicked and miserable. In Charlestown, this is Charlestown and Albistown. This is 3 weeks now, no garbage picking up. The place is so damn stink. Albistown all over, garbage all over, lightning in the place. They're so damn wicked. They don't want to give the mayor money for get these things. When Granger went in, every Saturday, Friday, the garbage truck poor and brother used to come. Now they bring this big blue and white thing, I don't know where to get them from. But the whole place laterate 3 weeks now, garbage in front of people door. Come and see. If you see the mess in the place, Albistown, Charlestown, right through, middle road all over, garbage. I don't know when they're going to clean it. This me take for this morning.
Thank you very much. Emily Gerard is your birthday girl. I hear you now turn 15 plus. Happy birthday, Emily. I hope that this added year does not take away from the energy you have, because we will need that energy for the continued fight. Happy birthday, Emily. Long life and God's richest blessings upon you. Caller live, good morning. Caller on WhatsApp, you're live, good morning. Caller live, good morning. Old people say like the man can't go shit. Caller, you're live, good morning. All right. I guess you're ready for us now. Let me look for these voice notes. The lines are open. You can call. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Yes, Mr.
Okay, welcome back.
A pleasant good morning to you, sir. I really appreciate how you put the explanation with the equality story, because I was following it, and I wanted to know why the justice didn't bring in these accept the applications for these other groups to be joined. How to explain it, I understand, and it's very informative. And instructive to me. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. The lines remain open. 6225933 is the number to call. You're tuned to the Buxtonian Guyanese, the Guyanese morning time.
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. I want to know if you could shine a light on that story with a young black man and some mystery as whether had some problem with some truck and who got to stay here and who ain't staying here. The man go and make the report at Providence Station, and like they're watching this young boy every move that he they making. When the brother now going a videotape.
Caller live, good morning.
Good morning. First, big up my girlfriend, Emily, on her birthday. Happy birthday, girlfriend, and whatever Kadaki wish that you keep the same energy, you have to keep it. Don't say, oh God, I get to know I can't do what I used to do. Continue. Now with this thing, with this equality thing, the government, the install is trying to destroy anything that is of African. Because they want Africans not to have money, they mustn't have things. But what we got to do, whatever we get, however we get, we still got to make it look real. I was in a position a few years ago where my main financial strain was cut off abruptly. And when the money cut off, I tell you, Kadaki and viewers out there, I like talk me on business. It hit me. And you know what I do? I went and I got a job, though it cannot come up to what I used to get. And I made it do. So whatever little bit we get, we must not let the install regime see. Because they have taken away our funding, we cannot have a proper emancipation on the 1st of August. We must let them see that with all what they have done, we still are being able to have a proper show. And as for the Chief Justice, we must remember, opportunity lost cannot be regained. And you don't take a second appearance to make a good first impression. We all know what she did, and many of us know it is because of her and what she has done. And to date, the install regime have not accepted her into their flow. So you know what she become? She like a spy. when a spy go out there to spy for the country, if they are being caught, they cannot go back to the country. And the other country collect them, extract all the information, and they are between two worlds with no place to rest themselves. That is Roxton George. And I got many people like me who will never accept her for nothing other than a traitor and a destroyer to the Africans in Guyana. She has even destroyed a whole country because of her spiteful and vindictive ruling by using her 60. And I don't care who vexed when I talk. Don't bother me. She will never be confirmed by them. Because this new role that she started to take, they know she has become, she will destroy them now. And they wonder. So before we confirm you, you can't get confirmed. So you ain't going to destroy us. So let her enjoy her trying to retain her name, which has already been destroyed in the mouths of people. And they say when salt and rice people wash the mouth on you. All them people at Moko, them people up Linden, the Henry family, the Boston family, Quindon Bacchus family, all of them tears, they're at she door. And she could never override those tears that are being shed on her. And as the Africans go through this type of partisanship that is going on in Guyana, all of her tears will be on her. So don't matter what she do, she will never rise and attain that glory she now tries to seek. Bye-bye.
Thank you for your call. It's now 19 minutes to the 8 o'clock hour. The lines are open and they remain open. 6225933 is the number to call. Call A Live. Good morning.
Morning, Julius Malemo. Oh, sorry, Kadaki.
You like people names. How you do?
Good, my brother. You are him for Guyana of what he is to the EFF. And last night I was telling a friend, looking at that boy, good luck story. That boy, he said he's ready, right? That boy has become militant and radicalized, right? And we got to remember that apartheid system did not crumble because only of Mandela. It crumbled because people started going missing, vanishing, extinct, melting out, and people in high places. And they holler, look, we can't make this thing happen because all we going to disappear one day. They come into Guyana, let them continue to do what they want, feel that they are powerful. But you know what I really love? And I always tell people, gun don't kill people, it's people kill people. When the gun drop on the ground, everybody drop, and only he stays standing. The only parading and masquerading as clowns with guns. When fire really breaks them, they shit the skin. Anyhow, this is all I got to say this morning.
Thank you for your call. That voice note I was playing before, I think Rwanda called or somebody, asking me if I can explain the story of that video, which this caller just referenced. That might take a whole lot of program to talk about and analyze and so on, because many people might want to know what the video is we're talking about. But you know, some people, I don't know why people act like this. There's an antecedent to this video, you know. I remember, well, the date I think he gave was November, December. Seeing a video during that period of time where there was gunplay in a police station. And an officer rank eventually came into the area where the gunplay was taking place. And calmed the person who was holding the gun, who eventually laid on the ground, went to the ground as they say, lie down, and gave up the firearm. People assume all kinds of things based on that video that they saw because they didn't gather the context from that video. I remember listening to that video and coming to the conclusion, well, this man was standing in defense of his life and that of his mother and brother, and his explanation basically has helped me to understand, well, I was right. Because what I understood there was that the security officers, guards as we call them, security men for Guy America, had attacked him and his family. And he got the opportunity and he took away the weapon from one of them and stood in defense of them. And that is what he was saying basically in this next video. You all understand that this is what happened. This is not me attacking people with a firearm. This is people attacking me in the police station. And I recognize that if I don't act, then me and my family will be dead. And so I acted. And his action resulted in what we saw on video there, with the police, the senior rank coming and trying to calm the situation and so on. What that video was highlighting over the weekend, it's still circulating, is the injustice in this country. That once you got power and you got access and you got money and you got access to the corridors of power, you could do any damn old thing in this country and get by and get off. Because to date, excuse me, he has not had his day in court. The representatives of Guy America have not been charged and placed before the court for robbery of his cell phone, for assaulting him with a gun, for all of these abuses which took place in the presence of the police and all of that. Instead, what he's being told is a story done buy and sell, or sell and buy. Money don't talk and bullshit is you walking around. And added to you walking around looking like bullshit in their eyes, threats are being made in your life. And therefore, in the language of the boys in the street, it's time to plug out. It is time to plug out. And the brothers say, well, hey, I plug out already. At 40, I live my life. I could give it up for my children and so on. Bring it on. I wish more Guyanese would take that attitude and say, bring it on. Because this is only the tip of the iceberg, you know. This is only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to what money does in this society against the oppressed. And a lot of people don't talk about it because they're afraid for their lives. This brother said, I am at the point where I don't care tree hang. Whatsoever comes to do. Because I was wronged and I did the correct thing. I went to the state, the law enforcement agency. And they are choosing not to do anything because they, like I said earlier, they're looking for tangibles and they got the tangibles. In the instance of Paper Shots murder, they say $60 or $70 million that make the police in doing nothing. In the instance of this brother being abused and assaulted by the representatives of Guy America and so on, I don't know how many million tangibles. But that's the society we live in. And if we continue to make justice available for sale, then we're going to live in a society where life will have no value. And many will tell me that we are already there. The lines remain open at 12 minutes to the 9 o'clock hour. So that's my brief explanation of that situation there. And I agree with my brother.
It. They're raiding the boy back in the yard. The police can't do nothing about it. They gotta call the patrol. And it's Providence station. Over the road is at the gas station. They can't go and arrest the man. When they see the boy brother now videotape
Call you live, good morning.
Morning, Kadaki, and morning, Guyana. It seems like we Africans, we're good at one thing, selling out each other. So, you know, as I've stated before, there is no future, in my opinion, that I'm seeing for African Guyanese unless they do something. So it means that they're comfortable where they are, and we will remain, you know, a slave to this already apartheid system. I saw that video with that young man, and that's why Guyana is so corrupt. And, you know, you're stressed. We don't see any Indian coming out to support nothing. They will never, because that's not the type of people they are. I mean, we'll criticize, right, our own where we see wrong, but that's not how they roll. And we must understand, and I don't think we're going to get it yet. We are not ready for these people. Our fight back is with prayers and a Bible and hoping devils will do the right thing. You have to fight fire with fire. And I don't know when the hell we are going to figure that out or get that level of understanding. These people mean no good for you. And that's my take.
Thank you for your call.
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. Good morning, viewers. You know, the situation in Guyana is getting bad every day. It's a sad situation in Guyana, and Guyanese, the ordinary Guyanese are suffering. The government building roads and putting up hotels, all these things that they're doing, but the money is not trickling down to the ordinary Guyanese. And Guyanese are suffering. You know, the ordinary man is being kicked around. And Guyanese have to ask themselves, I am better off now than I was before. And the only decision I can see they can make is to, come election time, vote out the PPP and put in somebody that can at least assist your needs a little. So the education system in shambles, the healthcare system in shambles, everything is in the shambles, and Guyanese got to stand up and demand better. They have to stand up and demand and say, listen to me, I want better for myself and my family. Your work environment should be better. Some Indian people just feel because they have an Indian government, they can do anything to the Afro-Guyanese, and it's wrong. Hitting people, beating people, cussing people. What kind of money these people behaving with? It is so lawless. So the only solution I can see there to help some Guyanese is vote the PPP out. Vote them out. No matter they say they're giving money to the supporters, vote them out. It is not right what they're doing to the ordinary Guyanese and to especially Afro-Guyanese, pushing them off the house lot, taking it away. Which government behave in that manner, the callous way? So Guyanese need to get up and think about it seriously and get a life together, change the government. There's only so I see better can come to Guyana. Bye.
Thank you for that voice note. It's now 7 minutes to the 9 o'clock hour. We're approaching time to make a wrap. Remember, we need your support, man. We need your support to keep this thing. This thing is running on water. You have 2 bits of information on the screen there. You can contribute to the program via Cash App, $BUXT, that's the handle. It will show up as Dr. Hines, or it will show up as David Hines, as a matter of fact. $BUXT. Send your Cash App contributions there. If you're in Guyana and you want to send us contributions, you can do it via MMG 6225933. The same WhatsApp number. Just make a deposit. Note a deposit. We ain't on tap up. Don't tap we up. Don't send me credit. Make a deposit into the MMG envelope 6225933 is the number to use there. Of course, those of you who are overseas and you want to contribute, you can send via Western Union or, well, the other services now. You have Western Union, you have MoneyGram, you have RIA. RIA is La Parcan. Now, if you're going to send by money transfer, please make contact at first. Unless we had a previous conversation and you have a contact information to send via one of these money transfers, please contact me before you make any money transfer arrangements. Because, for example, I do not receive any transfer via MoneyGram. Good? And you cannot receive so many transfers via Western Union. So, Guyana is a mess. People don't have freedom here, quite frankly. Let me put it away. You don't have freedom. And so even though you getting a little pittance, a remittance from somebody overseas, it has to be monitored and dictated to and all kinds of things. But keep that in mind. I mean, it can be frustrating at times, but help us to keep these programs going. Help us with the feeding program for the youngsters. And there's so many other things which are happening. Like I said, I'm currently preparing. I'm in an advanced state of starting print. So very soon I'm going to start a print publication for communities, especially those that don't have access to social media and the internet and so on. A lot of our people don't have access to the internet and social media. Unless they're thieving somebody Wi-Fi, right? Or they got a, what they call it, community hub in their area. In many instances when these things exist, many people don't have access to the kind of cell phones, the smartphones that will allow them access to these things. It might sound as though I'm talking about a 1970s country in 2023, but the reality is poverty is pervasive in Guyana, and people can't afford what are simple necessities in other countries. It's as simple as that. Good? In other countries where people talk about iPhone, what? 14 or something? Guyanese still using mango pelters. You think it's by choice? Because they don't have access. They can't afford. Affordability is an issue. A lot of people will tell you that the internet is pervasive. A lot of people should have access to internet in the country. You have internet service providers. But when you consider the cheapest internet service available to a Guyanese, right? It's about $10,000 a month, $50 US a month. You can understand the difficulty of poor people getting that. People are forced to live under $5.50 US a day. They live on less than that. And so ask yourself how then they can afford to pay $50 US a month for internet access. Right? So we have to meet people where they are. And that is why it's important that I do these print publications, which I'm working diligently and getting started. Getting them started is only one thing, because when I've started doing the prints, we have to get them out into the communities. It means that we have to get volunteers to take them into those communities. That might mean the incurring of traveling expenses and refreshment and stuff like that. That is why it's important that at some point in time I say to you, we need your financial contributions. Good? At the time when I used to tell you, and I still have a problem with having to ask people. I still have a problem. It really, I tell people it doesn't go down well with me, and I'm going to share a secret here. Well, an inside gaff. Ever so often, gaffing with certain people, they will remind you, or they will say, "Bye, hey, We people ain't easy, you know. That before you come and beg them, every time you come and beg, you got to come and beg them to support the program. As against them seeing it as an undertaking, a community undertaking, and willingly saying, well, listen, I am going to contribute on a monthly basis $2 for this cause. You got to go and beg them. And I like to tell people, please and thanks is not one of my forte. I don't like say please and thanks at all. Because when I have to beg people, I feel I'm giving up my independence, my freedom. And if there's anything else I like to hold on to, my freedom. If I want to tell you I'm black, I must tell you I'm black. I must not think about, why? Bust this man out, and next week he's not going to send no contributions, and this program might flop. I don't think so. I want to have that freedom to cuss you out. Because you like when I cuss out other people for their wrongdoing. So if you mash my car, I must be able to cuss you out too. And not study that you're going to cut funding and so on. That is why group funding is necessary for certain kinds of activities. Good? Y'all have a good day. It's 9 o'clock. Remember, Lou's Kitchen is open. And you can have access to grilled fish and rotisserie chicken on a daily basis. That can go with whether you want rice as a side, you want potato fries or anything as a side. But you have access to grilled chicken and fish, rotisserie chicken and grilled fish on a daily at Lou's Kitchen. Good? Have a good day. Talk to you tomorrow morning. It's Monday, so you don't expect Dr. Hines on Politics 101 this evening. He's going to be on Tuesday evening as usual. But be good. Continue to pay attention to what is happening. And I beg y'all, I beg you, don't be part of the betrayal of black people. Don't be part of the betrayal of African Guyanese. Don't be a token organization on paper that the PPP allows you to steal money from the government coffers through, knowing that they just got you on a leash so they can call on you to do their dirty work whenever they want it done. Right? Remember ethics. Be ethical. And then they ain't gonna got no chain on you to got you like a rabid dog doing their dirty work. Don't be the spoiler like Leon Saul. Have a good day.